In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 really unusual warm-up hacks that are going to help you be ready for a great practice session. If we haven't met yet, I'm Jennifer Roig-Francolí. I'm the creator of The Art of Freedom for Musicians. I'm a certified Alexander technique teacher, and I've been a professional violinist pretty much my whole life. So I want to talk to you about some, as I said, pretty unusual ways to start practicing that are going to optimize and make your practice sessions really efficient and effective. Okay, so before I get started, I also want to let everybody know that you are so welcome to join my free Facebook group. It's called the Musicians Mind Body Practice Tribe, and we're always talking about what it means to be a musician. We're talking about what prevents success, like mindset issues and physical issues that might get in the way, and how we can make music with the most joy possible with an integrated self. Okay, so that's the perspective I'm bringing to this as a performer and an Alexander teacher. I'm mostly interested in helping musicians get out of their own way so that they can make the best music possible. Okay, so my first question for everybody out there, and hello as I see people coming on. Please say hello, by the way, when you come, and then I can interact with you better, okay? So even if you're watching the replay, just say a hello, say hi, and if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to type them in there and contact me, okay? I love helping people with things where they're stuck improving technique, or anything goes and any instrument goes. It's not just about violin, even though I'm holding my violin here. Okay, so my first question to you is, why warm up anyway, and what does warming up mean? So the way I'm going to define warming up right now is I want to give myself a little bit of time and space before I dive into my practice session to really optimize the internal conditions of my mind-body self so that I have the best chance at making the best possible use of my time and energy with my instrument. So whatever I do before I dive into official practice is what I would call a warm-up, okay? And I'm just gonna give you the 5 hacks. Here we go, okay? And I'm gonna try not to talk too much about each of them because I can talk for days on each of these hacks, and that's what my group program is about, Alexander Musicians. It's an online group. We meet every week. It is so much fun. And also my private online coaching, of course. Hack number 1, you need to start, remember, these are only if you want to have the best practice session possible. You don't have to do these before you start, but you are going to nail it with your practice session if you go through this process. And it doesn't have to take a long time. You can just ask these self-check questions. That's hack number 1. Ask the self-check questions first. Just kind of go down the list. You might want to even get a piece of paper and copy these down. Or if you're watching the replay, it'll be easy. This will be on YouTube as well. Self-check questions there are 5 of them right now that I've come up with. Of course, you could make this list huge, but let's keep it simple. 5 self-check questions. Here they are. Number 1 is about desire. Do I actually want to practice? Okay, that may seem like a trick question. If you've set out to practice, you'd think that you want to practice, but go a little deeper. For some of you, especially, kids don't always want to practice, right? If you're an adult amateur learner who just is in love with practicing, this is a no-brainer for you. Of course you want to practice or you wouldn't do it, right? But ask the question anyway, no matter who you are, what age you are. Professionals, it's not always an easy answer, right? A lot of the times we go into, I should want to practice, but do I really want to? Well, but I should because I have this concert coming up, right? So this question goes for all skill levels. I don't care if you've been playing your instrument professionally for decades like I have, or if you are a brand new baby beginner. Ask yourself, do I want to practice? It's It's about desire and really getting in touch with what you want, not what's expected of you from outside. Remember, warming up is all about creating optimal internal conditions inside of yourself, okay? So, do I want to practice? Number 2, check in with your mood. How do you feel emotionally? I think we all know that it can be harder to get yourself to practice, and it's harder to have a good practice session if you're just in a really down, awful mood, okay? So remember, these are just self-check questions, all right? I'm not suggesting the action that you would take next. We're still on hack number 1, self-check questions. So really just check in with yourself. What's your mood like? How do you feel emotionally? Could be up, could be down, could be anything in between, right? Question number 3, check in with your body. How do I feel in my body? I mean, did I sleep enough? Did I eat? Am I hungry? Am I exhausted because I just ran a marathon? Am I just really under the weather and feeling sick? Check in with your body. Really listen to it. And are you tense? Are you stiff? Are you anxious? And are you feeling that in your body? Are you depressed and pulled down? Are you feeling that in your body? Or are you just happy? Everything's great. You're in love. Life is grand. Check in. Check in with your mood. Okay? Number 4, check in with your mind. How alert are you right now? Right? Are you actually thinking? Or is your mind just wandering off into outer space? Like, have you been out to lunch all day? Have you been preoccupied or worried by something? Where is your mind? Is it alert or is it sluggish? Just check in and find out. All right? Last self-check question in hack number 1 is about timing. Is this actually a good time for me to practice? All right, and that could be, yes, this is the time I have today. I only have 20 minutes. This is the time, like it or not. That could be your answer. Or your answer could be like, you know what, this is not a good time. There's too much other stuff going on and I can't focus and it's just not a good time. That's a perfectly valid answer. But you know, it always depends on context, right? It depends on context and it depends on your goals. It depends on whether you have a gig coming up. It depends on a lot of things. But this, in hack number 1, it's just asking yourself these questions. Is this a good time? Yes or no, okay? That doesn't mean you're not going to practice and it doesn't mean you're going to practice, but you're checking in with yourself to make this question, this topic, conscious for you. This is all about really honing your awareness, because if you bring your full awareness to your practice session, you're just going to practice better. I think that's a no-brainer, right? Isn't that obvious? Give me your feedback. Y is for yes, punch it in there, or N is for no. Does this make sense to you? Okay, I want to get your feedback. I don't want this to be so one-dimensional. I would love to hear what you have to say. Give me your feedback, even if it's on the replay, please, okay? So, moving on to hack number 2. This also doesn't have to take you more than a few seconds, but it could take you a long time if you've never thought about this before, which is why I want you to get into the practice of asking yourself this every single day. At first, you might want to write in a journal so you get really clear on what your purpose is, or you may not want to. Maybe it's not your thing and you're just like, hey, I just want to play my violin. Well, that's enough of a purpose. There you have it. That's your 2-second why. I just want to do it because I want to do it. That's a good enough reason. But make it conscious. Okay, that's my point. You want to have a practice session that is as aware and fully conscious of who you are and what you're doing as possible in that present moment that you are living in. Okay? So get clear on your why. Know your big purpose. Or if you don't know your big purpose, intend to discover your big purpose. That could be a life mission that takes you years to figure out. Or you just ask the question, right? Again, like hack number 1, ask yourself the question, why am I doing this? And it may be a super simple question like, well, because I have a lesson tomorrow, or I am playing in Carnegie Hall next week, right? Your why, whether it's big purpose, life mission statement, or just practical, time-driven, like next week's concert, or I really want to learn how to play those fingered octaves in tune. That's a good enough reason too, but know why you want to do it, all right? Hack number 3, wake up and move. Move your body, all right? This goes back to question number 1, hack number 1. It's like, when you're checking in with your body, are you awake? Are you present? Are you actually in your body, or are you, like I said, off to outer space somewhere with your mind? You've got to bring your mind back into your body if it's not really connected. And your body needs to be awake. I mean, that's hard. Sometimes people need to practice at 5:30 in the morning or 6 a.m. before they go off to work, or before they go to school if they're a kid. And sometimes if you're really tired and you're feeling sluggish, it's just hard to practice, right? So don't work against yourself like this. If your body's feeling sluggish, don't try to practice right away. Do something to wake yourself up, okay? And get creative about this. There are infinite ways to wake up your body, right? If you want, splash cold water on your face. Get a wet washcloth and like slather it all over yourself if you're not awake. And someone in my Musician's Mind Body Practice tribe just recently asked the question about physical exercise and physical warm-ups. Like, how important is that? What about jumping jacks? Honestly, I think anything is possible, right? Within reason and within moderation, okay? So I just feel like you need to be connected to your body, and your body needs to be awake and like ready to move. It needs to be responsive and flexible. To make the best possible music, you need to be able to respond. Your body needs to be able to follow directions that your brain gives it. And that's just not going to work very well if you're down here and you're exhausted, right? Don't fight that. You need to first connect to your body and wake it up. I think getting your blood moving, if you're feeling sluggish, run up and down the stairs, do jumping jacks. I think that's a great idea. Get yourself, just wake up. Just wake up and move. Dancing. Turn on the radio. Dance. I don't like the radio actually usually, but there are all kinds of great things that I listen to on Spotify, or things that I have in playlists that I use that I know are going to help me get going. There's just so much great music to get you moving. If you like to do yoga, things like that to just get your mind into your body with movement. I do something called stretch play that I've invented. It's an Alexander applied practice for getting curious about movements with a mind-body awareness. So just play around. Play with moving your body and wake up that way. Get curious about what your body can do. Get your blood moving. But one caveat, and this goes for anything like yoga, or really be careful with weightlifting. As I said, anything within moderation would be okay, but most of us are not really aware of when we use exercise in a way that is counterproductive. And we've been kind of conditioned to think no pain, no gain. That's just not true in my perspective, from an Alexander perspective. If you are having pain, stop. And that goes for practicing your instrument, by the way. Also, as an aside, if something is hurting, there's something wrong, and you've got to listen to your body, stop, get professional, expert help, ideally from an Alexander teacher who's trained in mind-body awareness and movement. We're movement specialists, ultimately. Okay, so you've got to wake up and move. That's hack number 3. And obviously there are so many ways to do that, but don't fight yourself. If your body is just not ready, it's feeling stiff or tight or tense, you need to do something else before you start practicing, or you're going to bring all that excess tension or sluggishness into your session, and then you're not going to have a great practice session. There's going to be hard work, like pulling teeth, to get yourself to the point where you feel like you're being productive. You can stop. You don't have to waste all that time if you do it this way, okay? Hack number 4, integrate your whole self with something called TheCyCle. Now, TheCyCle is something I talk about a lot in the Musicians Mind Body Practice Tribe. That's my free Facebook group, as I mentioned before. Join if you're not a member yet. We have a lot of fun. But TheCyCle is a primal Alexander etude developed by Mio Morales. It is the best warm-up that I know for integrating how you're thinking with your body. And everything that we do with our instruments is about having an idea in the mind, like a musical phrase, something you want to do with your fingers. You have to start with an idea in your mind. But then you need to be able to translate and communicate that idea from your mind, from your brain, through the nervous system, through the physical material body, through your musical instrument, whatever it is, right? So that it comes out through sound, and that's how you're expressing the musical idea. That is only going to work optimally if you are tuning up your primary instrument, which is your mind-body self. What I mean by tuning up your mind-body instrument is I want to undo and let go of as many things in my thinking or in my musculature that are blocking the easy transmission of ideas through me and out my instrument. Okay, that's kind of a mouthful what I just gave you. Basically, what I'm talking about is that we are all carrying around more tension in our thinking, more stress, more tension in our muscles than we even are aware of. We are unconscious of most of the tension that we carry around and live with on a daily, constant basis. So I highly, highly recommend that you learn this 2-minute etude, which is so simple. And I'm actually going to give you my free 5-day warm-up challenge to learn how to do TheCyCle. I'm sticking it in here right now, so you're going to have the link. There you go. So learn TheCyCle because it's going to help you start letting go of unconscious tension and that is getting in the way of your best performance. I mean, it's obvious. I think if you think about it, it's obvious that if your muscles are tight, it's going to hamper the free, flexible flow and movement of your body. It's like you're not going to be able to move your fingers as easily if you're tense, as if you've undone and let go of all that tension. Okay, tension is not bad, but too much of it can get in the way, right? Tension is actually just, we need tension, but we need appropriate tension and balanced tone in this primary instrument. When this is functioning optimally, when the whole self is integrated as much as possible in any given moment, given the circumstances and who we are, our persona, then it's like if you do that, if you just take those 2 minutes to do TheCyCle, and you do this regularly because it improves with practice, then you are going to play better from the start. It's like all of these hacks, these warm-up hacks, are to provide optimal, it's like to give you the best possible advantage for the best possible practice session any given day, given your circumstances, that you can do. I want you to have the best possible practice session, and these steps, these hacks are going to optimize your chances for having the best practice session, okay? Don't skip over any of them. Try them all out for a week and tell me how they go. Last but not least, they're all important. And this is one of those most important ones. Hack number 5 is something elusive and subtle. There's a spark. This is going to sound really weird. It's it's kind of like, you know, in the old days, people used to believe in an artistic muse, right? The muse would visit you and your inner genius would be expressed through your art, whether you're Shakespeare, you're a writer, or you're a Picasso. There would be this idea of a genius muse that you'd become possessed by that muse, and the muse would take over and just make the music for you, okay? Now, I don't know if that kind of a genie exists or not, but I like the idea of having this almost mystical connection or magical connection with something that is so subtle that inspires your music making. If you've got that special something, then it's like it sparks the creativity that you need to learn how to make great music, right? Without that spark, you can still make really good music. You can still be really good. You can improve your technique. You can improve everything that you're doing. But without that spark that is somehow inspired, it's not going to sound inspired, right? And if you want to have an inspired performance that is just in flow, which is true art, the way I see it and feel it and experience it when it happens, when I'm that blessed to have that happen, it's just the most amazing thing when that happens. And you can access it through your intention and through practicing it. If you practice that way, then you're going to get good at performing that way. If you don't bring an inspired spark and flow and that special something into your practice sessions, you're not going to get better at it, because you get better at whatever you practice. If you're always practicing kind of, yeah, okay, but not too inspired, that's how your performances are going to be, because you get really good at having kind of blah music practice sessions. If you want exciting, inspired performances, you got to practice that way, okay? So those are my special, unusual practice hacks for warming up, and I bet you won't find those practice hacks anywhere else. I have a feeling, because I want to say this is inspired. These are my ideas. You know, they are influenced heavily by my experience and amazing teachers that I've had over my life in music and otherwise, and especially by the Alexander technique perspective. But putting them all together, that's pretty unique, I think. So these are the types of things. By the way, tell me if you find this useful. I'd love to get your feedback here. And in a moment, I'm going to check the comments. I can't see them at the same time, so just a moment. Before I check the comments, I just want to tell you, if you find these things useful, then first of all, try, do the 5-day cycle challenge. Join my free Facebook group, the Musicians Mind Body Practice Tribe. And here is the link for that. Actually, I forgot to give you that. So here's the link to join my free group. Do those things. And then I want you to just know that this is just the tip of the iceberg of the types of things that I teach my students about making really, truly great inspired art from a holistic, integrated, whole person, heart expressed way of making music. If you're curious, you want to know more, message me or email me. I would love to tell you about my group classes. I do everything online, so it doesn't matter where you live, as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection or data plan that connects you to the internet like this. I have weekly group classes, and then I do private artistic mastery coaching sessions as well for all skill levels. Okay, so just wanted to put that out there. Now I'm going to go over to see what you all had to say. Jill says, all true. Yes, thank you, Jill. I'm glad we are resonating on the same plane here. Angel says, yes, I always do the cycle before I practice and after. Oh, Angel, that is great. That's another thing, after your practice sessions, we should have you got to warm up, but then there are things you can do to bring that flow into your daily life too. And so that practice and life become one and the same, right? And actually, to be totally honest to you, I don't even think of warming up as warming up. I just think of it as more of what I do all day long, which is be myself in the most aware, conscious way that I can, most integrated with my mind and body. So I'm kind of practicing all these things throughout my day, not just for a couple of minutes before I get out my violin. And the hacks that I've given you are not things that just stop once I start practicing Tchaikovsky or whatever, right? So it's sort of artificial to say, okay, this is my warm-up time, because it's really just more living you time. But there is a different focus because it's like a transition between not playing your instrument and playing your instrument. So there is that special transition time. But you can have that special transition time at the end of your musical practice session too. So Angel, I'm really glad that you shared that. Doing the cycle at the end of a practice session would be just great. Really, really good. Yeah, thank you for that. Barb says, oh, I see. Bethany says, I love this cycle. I even do quickie ones during orchestra rehearsals. That's great. You can do that. It's like sometimes you're in a rehearsal and you're just sitting there kind of bored because the conductor's talking to a different section of the orchestra, right? That's your time. That's for you. Use it and make the most of it. So Bethany, bravo for taking advantage of that time. You know, time is precious. Let's not waste it. And you can use quiet time even when you're away from your instrument to become better at your instrument when you're paying attention to this primary instrument, okay? So, and Barb says, me too. You love the cycle too. Yes, I love it. Barb, oh, I love that suggestion. Going along with the hack about waking up your body and making it flexible and responsive and ready to move, bouncing on a yoga ball. This is a great suggestion. And if you do play an instrument like the flute or the cello, you know, an instrument where you get to sit down, it is really interesting to actually practice while on one of those bouncy balls. And it's great because, I mean, try it out. Maybe I'll do a video on that, actually. If somebody wants that, let me know. But it's really, really interesting if you allow yourself to practice that way. As a violinist also, I've learned so much by sitting on one of those exercise, you know, physio balls while I'm practicing. Very interesting. Balance, that's another thing. If you have a balance board, you can get them at places like Target, or you can even make, well, I wouldn't make my own, that might be dangerous. Practicing on one of those balance boards is so enlightening. If you want to know more about this, anybody, again, message me. Come over to the Mind Body Practice Tribe and make a post with a question for me, or tell us about your experience with any of these things. I would just love for other people to post in the tribe about their experiences with any of these things. Would you all be willing to do that? Any of you? I would really appreciate that. Just send something out into the practice tribe that we can have a day. Great. All right. So Angel says, AT is Alexander Technique, by the way. AT becomes a part of your life. Yes, because AT is all about getting to know yourself better, learning to discern how you're blocking the full expression of what you want to do and express emotionally. We do that through music. Learning how you're blocking that, and then learning how to undo it and let it go so that you have more ease in your mind, more ease in your body, more effortlessness in your music making, but tons of inspired energy at the same time. So there's no collapsing. We're all about relaxing without collapsing, by the way. Angel says, so sad, I probably have the one instrument you can't do that on, lever harp. Yeah, that would be kind of hard to do on a balance ball. And pianists have a hard time too. But you could experiment with it anyway without expecting that the other relationships of where your arms go or how things feel are going to work. You could just do it as a game and an experiment and find out what happens. It might be interesting and revealing, actually. You probably wouldn't want to perform that way. Okay, so it looks like that's about it. That's about what I've got for you today. I hope you found this useful. If you got other people who would like to hear this, please use it, okay? Send it wherever you want. Do what you will with this. And again, come over to the tribe. See you there. Let's continue the discussion. And what else did I want to tell you? I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, I would love it if you would hit the bell and subscribe to my channel. I do these broadcasts on a specific topic every Thursday at 2 p.m. And I also have a live question and answer session every Monday at 3 p.m. That's Eastern time. So join me for any of those. Send me your questions in advance, and I promise to answer them. Okay? Take care. Enjoy your practicing. Please, please let me know how it goes if you try out these practice hacks. And I'm serious. I really, really want to know. So send me a private message through my business page to make sure I see it. Or send me an email to jennifer@artoffreedom.me. Or again, post in the Mind Body Practice Tribe. Okay? So have fun experimenting with this. And happy practicing. And lots of love. Bye-bye.